Hey everyone, Prison Meddler here, and I am back with another video. Today I decided to do something new. It's kind of like an album review, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to I haven't listened to the new Five Finger Death Punch album yet, but now what I'm going to do is I'm going to listen to every song from this album, and whenever I'm done listening to this song, I'm just going to review that song. And then whenever I'm done making a review of that song, I'm going to move on to the next song. But there's not going to be any music playing. Whenever I'm about to listen to that song, I'm going to stop recording, and then whenever the song's finished, then I will get back to you. So now, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to review the new Five Finger Death Punch album song by song. Now here is my thoughts on Five Finger Death Punch before I get started. I used to like that band like 10 years ago, and then up until like their fourth album, The Wrong Side of Heaven and The Righteous Side of Hell, Volume 1 came out. This album started to go downhill a bit, and I feel like their next album keeps getting worse and worse. I thought Got Your Six was an awful album. I only liked 2 or 3 songs. And then Justice for Naught came out, and that album sucked even more. That's probably one of the worst albums I ever heard. The only song I liked from Justice for None is Trouble, and that's a bonus track from that album. That's the only song that I like. I mean, I guess I Refuse and Stuck in My Ways is an okay song, but still, I thought that album was trash. But that's just my opinion, though. But anyway, let's see how my thoughts on this album turns out, and I'm going to go ahead and get started right now, so I'll be right back with you. Alright, so now I just listened to Inside Out. I've already listened to this song before, um, but it's pretty much a typical Five Finger Death Punch song. But this song kind of reminds me of the album, their third album, American Capitalist, which I actually do like this song a lot, though. But we're just at the beginning of this album, and I also heard the next 2 songs, but I don't really remember the last single from it. But anyway, this is actually a decent song, but it's actually definitely one of their better songs in a couple of years, if you know what I mean. But anyway, let's move on to the next track, Full Circle, and I will be right back. Alright, so just listen to Full Circle, and I actually like this song more than Inside Out, to be honest. I really like the hook on this album. It's just very melodic. So far, I'm actually liking this album, but we're only 2 songs in, so I think the next song was Living the Dream. I think I've only heard that once, but I don't really remember if I liked it or not, so let's go ahead and move on to Living the Dream. Alright, so Living the Dream. It's an okay song. It's just nothing. It's pretty generic, to be honest. Um, Chorus is catchy. I do like the instrumentals, but generally it's pretty much a generic Five Finger Death Punch song. So I just have nothing else to say about it. So I'm just gonna go ahead and move on to a little bit of. Alright, I'm back. Now, my thoughts on a little bit of. Really? That song? Are you trying to be pop country again? Wow. We are about 2 to 3 songs in, and you're starting to become country again. This is probably one of the worst songs I have ever heard. A little bit of everything. I mean, what the fuck was that? I'm sorry, I just hate that song. Is terrible. Oh my god. I mean, the electronic beats at the background, the DJ Scratch sound at the beginning, it's just awful. I mean, what the hell was that? I'm sorry, guys, I'm criticizing it, but I just don't like this song at all. It's awful. I know it's not really good review, but I'm just listening to the songs for the first time. That's why I barely have any words. So I'm just gonna move on to what's the next song called? Bottom of the Top. All right, let's go to Bottom of the Top and let's see how this goes. All right, so back. All right, now Bottom of the Top. Excellent track. Wow, I thought this was gonna be another bad song after that, but no, this is actually really good. I am actually impressed. Um, and no, I'm not being sarcastic at all. This reminds me of The Way of the Fist a little bit, mixed with War is the Answer. I just really like this track. This is probably my favorite track in this album so far. I am really impressed. This album seems to be improving, but we're not really halfway done yet. I think we're at the fifth song. I'm not counting the intro, but yeah, so three so far. So let's hopefully this is going to be a much better album than their last couple of albums. So let's go ahead and move on to Be Alone. All right, now To Be Alone, very decent song, but not one of my favorites so far. Um, I really have nothing else to say about it, but it's actually a pretty good song, but it's pretty much like a radio catchy tune song, but like I said before, it's just not one of my favorites by them, but it's decent, so there's really nothing else to say here. So, on to, let me look. Mother May I TikTok. I have a feeling this is going to be a terrible song, but no, not the app TikTok. It's with the C this at the end, not the K, but I'm going to go ahead and listen to it. I'm kind of nervous to see how good it is or how really awful it is, but let's see how this goes. Alright, Mother Me I TikTok. I'm not gonna lie, this song is actually not that bad. It's a typical Five Finger Death Punch song. However, this song reminds me of Ivan's first band, Motograter. If you don't know who Motograter is, they are an industrial new metal band, and that Ivan Moody was in before he moved to Ghost Machine. I'm not really too familiar with Ghost Machine, but I really do know a lot about Motograter. They are a industrial new metal band that Ivan was in. It reminds me of the song "Get Back." I think it's probably the way he sings. It kind of reminds me of it on the verses, but yeah, this reminds me of that track a bit. So I'm gonna move on to what's the next song? Darkness Settles In. Alright. Alright, Darkness Settles In. Definitely that's actually a really great song, but it kind of reminds me of The Righteous Side of Heaven, The Righteous Side of Hell. I'm sorry, Wrong Side of Heaven, my bad. It reminds me of that song a lot for some reason, but I think this is actually a pretty great song. Probably my top three so far. I just really like this song a lot. So far, this is actually track 10 already. So far, this album is actually pretty good, with except one song. except once trash ass song a little bit of. But this isn't over yet, and yes, I am reacting to bonus tracks as well. So yeah. We got a couple more songs to go. Let's go. Let's continue on to This Is War. All right. This Is War. Wow, this reminds me of old Five Finger Death Punch right here. This Is War. This is now one of my favorites of this album so far. Definitely a great track. This reminds me of Way of the Fists a whole lot. I don't know why, but this is definitely a fantastic song. That's probably it's one of my favorites on this album. Definitely a great song. Feels like Five Finger Death Punch is getting back to their roots again. So yeah, definitely enjoy. But I'm still not done yet. We got a couple more songs to go, and let's continue on to Leave It All Behind. Alright, Leave It All Behind. It's okay song. It's really nothing special. It's just one of those songs I just won't remember. That's just really nothing to say about this song, so I'm just gonna go ahead and move on to Scar Tissue. So let's get on to it. Alright, Scar Tissue. Another great song. I thought the riff is really catchy. Another great song for this album. What else can I say? We got a few more songs left, and I actually like this album a lot. I am really surprised here. I thought this is gonna be a terrible album. I thought this is gonna be worse than Justice for None, but no, I was dead wrong. This is a great album, even though there's one garbage song on there. But besides that, this album, most of it is just amazing so far. I just really like this album. But I'm not done yet, guys. So let's move on to final track for the standard version, Brighter Side of Grey. So let's go ahead and get started. Alright, Brighter Side of Grey. It's pretty much of a conclusion of this album. I just don't really have much to say about it, but it's a nice track. It's just not one of my favorites though. But I don't think it's bad either. So I'm just going to go ahead and move on to the bonus tracks. Making Monsters. Alright. Let's go on and do Making Monsters. Alright, Making Monster. Again, another groovy ass track. I thought this was definitely a heavy track. I definitely, nothing else to say here. It's just reminds me of old Five Finger Death Punch. Sorry if I'm not saying much, but there's really nothing else I gotta say. Alright, last track. Death Punch Therapy. Death Punch Therapy. This is definitely a great track, but, they reused some of the lyrics from, on the chorus, they used the same chorus from The Double Zone, and then, on the bridge, they used the same lyrics from White Knuckles, but which gives it a great comeback, don't get me wrong, but I am not going to review Inside Out's radio version because I suppose this must be the clean version of the song, but I'm not going to review that because I already listened to Inside Out, and I just have no point in reviewing the clean version of it, or radio of it, or whatever you want to call it. But I am very impressed with this album. Um, this has improved a lot. Like I said before, I thought this is going to be a bad album, but even though I did listen to Inside Out and Full Circle a few times before, and I have to say they're not bad, but I I didn't expect it to be a good album. I thought it would be either mediocre or complete shit, if you know what I mean. But even though I would put this album like I guess, fourth or fifth place on my ranking, but I haven't done a ranking on Five Finger Death Punch. So, but I am about to do a ranking on Iron Maiden soon, but I just need to re-listen to their discography. But yeah, here's my final thoughts of this album. Definitely a great album. So much improvement from the last two albums, Got Your Six and Justice for None. This album is 10 times better than these two albums. Got Your Six is just not good. I wouldn't say, well, I kind of take it back from being bad, but Justice for None is worse. God, that album was terrible. That's just my opinion. This is a terrible album. I don't even know what they were thinking on that album, but this is great. It reminds me of the Return to Roots album. That's all I have to say of this album. I'm My rating for this album, I'm gonna have to give it an 8 out of 10. Um, I would rate this a 9 out of 10, but I had to put an 8 out of 10 because of one song on this album. Um, if you know what I mean, a little bit off. That's the song right here. Um, if this wasn't, if this song is omitted from this album, I would rate this higher. But definitely a great album, and I hopefully I'll do album reviews like that in the future. And that's pretty much all I have to say about on this video. And I will talk to you all later. Peace out.